Hello and welcome to Katie on Tonal. I am really excited today. I have been wanting to do this podcast with this very, very special Tonal member. She has had an incredible journey on Tonal, and I have followed her journey for, gosh, it seems like it's been like 3 years, 2 years. Following alongside her training journey on Tonal, following along her running and, now trail and ultra marathon. But you guys did not come here to hear me talk. So I am very, very excited to welcome Cami to Katie on Tonal. Welcome, Cami.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are
Good.
you? You look
I'm doing all
beautiful.
right. Thank you. You
Mm,
too.
I did wear a little color for you today.
Okay. Well,
I
no
did.
pink
And look,
though.
I got pink. When I post this video, I got pink lips on today.
Okay.
So I did.
Okay.
I did. I did wear a
Well, I've
little
got
bit of
my
pink.
favorite color, which is stripes. So,
I did not
uh,
know that about you.
yes, I love stripes.
Stripes are your favorite.
It is. Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
I
Even
love
though it's
that.
supposed to be unflattering, I don't care. Now, you know
I
what I
don't
think it is that, I mean, this is like stereotypical about being overweight is that, you never wear horizontal stripes. So once I lost the weight, of course, I had to get all the stripes. It's so silly though.
but you know what? Stripes are like a good solid. Like, it goes with any color you
It
wanna
does.
put with a
Yeah.
stripe,
That's
you
right.
know?
That's
It
right.
is. It is a great color. So we're gonna get into some fun tonal talk. We're gonna get into some race prep. But first off, kind of welcome us into the Cami world of how your whole fitness journey started. Like, from you losing weight,
Mhm.
um, and how you've kind of transitioned going through, training on tonal and your race journey. Kind of welcome us into that little Cami world.
Okay. Well, I s I've always been thin until I had my 3rd child at 37, and then I think I just embraced the happy life, fat and happy life. I remember just a lot of Chick-fil-A in my life at the time. But, um, I think it was 2022, I was at the pool with my family, and I was floating during, like, the adult swim time,
Hmm.
and I floated it felt so good, and then I pulled myself out of the water, and I felt so heavy and uncomfortable after being, weightless for 20 minutes, and I realized at that moment something had to change. But I had been walking for several years on the treadmill. We bought a treadmill during COVID, like a lot of people did, and I walked and I walked and I walked, and I never lost any weight. My heart was strong, I think, but I think the walking for me didn't do what I was hoping it would do. So my husband said, I think you just need to start lifting weights. And I thought, I don't want to lift weights. I don't want to lift weights. But fall of 2022, we got the tonal. Absolutely changed my life.
I
It
love that
absolutely
for
changed
you.
my life. I think that was the missing link for me was the weightlifting.
And
So
the treadmill that you have at home really
Mhm.
you have the
It's
Nordic Track,
it's
right?
Proform. I think it's called
Oh, okay.
NordicTrack or something, but it's within the iFit family, that's another training program, like, it's similar to Peloton where they have the screen in front of you and the trainers, and it's it manipulates the machine for you, so, like, just like Tonal, where you don't have to
Yeah.
really think about what you're doing, just press go and it does everything for you. I mean, minus the actual work, but
I know.
you have to put in the work just like Tonal. You actually have to do the work,
Don't we wish it
but
just did it for us? Like, come
yeah.
on.
You don't have to think about it, really. I mean, if you don't want to, you could just push the button on Tonal and you just go. I love it. You don't have to, keep track of what you go to the gym and you see all these people with their notepads taking notes and like, oh, I did
Oh,
this many reps or that many reps. But Tonal
I
does it for you. I love it. It's one of my favorite things about it.
I can't even imagine with my perimenopause brain, like,
Yeah.
trying to count reps.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I this is funny. I fell on my treadmill a few years ago and I shattered this bone in my arm and I had to spend a lot of time in PT. And they're like, okay, you need to do 12 reps. I was like, somebody's got to count for me. I can't count in 12.
I
What's wrong with me?
die.
But like, I'm doing this thing. They're like, okay, go around the clock with your arm. And I'm like, I got to do too many things and count. Somebody else count. Like,
I can't. And that's so true. And I still to like this day, because sometimes like I'll turn like the sound kind of down on tonal and I'll
yeah.
just like get in my head and I'll be like, wait a second. How long has it been?"
Yeah, where are the beeps? For goodness sakes, I know I've hit 12 reps. Why is it still going?
And I swear, I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but I swear Tonal puts me together sometimes and doesn't count a rep.
Oh, I'm for sure it skips. I was like, I can count, even though I just said I couldn't
I
count.
know, that's what the funny part is.
Yeah.
But that's great with, incorporating Tonal. Now, does your husband use the Tonal as well?
He does, yes. It took him about 81 weeks to finish the 12-week program with, Joe, but he still works out. I mean, sometimes you just fit it in where you can,
Oh,
and
of
not
course.
it can't
Yeah.
always yeah, but he likes it, but my kids that I have two older kids, and they haven't seemed to like it. I think they like the social aspect of the gym.
And I
So,
also think and I've seen on your social media that, your son doing your, kinda trails,
yes.
training with you, which I
Yeah.
think is absolutely incredible.
Yes. Yeah, I think we're trying to find a sport for him. He's tried a few sports, so I thought, why not do one with me while he still likes me? He's 13 now. And we tried to do, we did a 5K this spring, and he was going through a growth spurt at the time, and he was in a lot of pain. And so
Oh, I
I
bet.
didn't really push it. I think maybe in high school, he's going to be in eighth grade. So maybe in high school, he'll do cross country. But if I could have a buddy to run on the trails with, that would be awesome.
Right?
You
And
know?
that was at the quarry, right?
Yes, that 5K, oh, that was brutal. If I don't know why I picked the hardest trails to do, but yeah, he was behind. I think there were maybe 3 people behind him at the end of that 5K, but he did not give up. I had to push him up the last hill. Even they had, like, security there, like police, and a police cruiser came up behind us. He's like, "Should he get in the car?" I was like, "Absolutely not. He's not getting in this car. He's finishing this race."
Get him, mom. Get
Yeah.
him. But that was
Yeah.
so cool that,
Yeah.
when you were posting about that, because like, the whole scenery and I think that's one of the great things with, races and runs in general is
Yeah.
that you get so much of more of a, atmosphere,
Yeah.
right? That
Yeah.
kind of sometimes, let me stress sometimes, will help you
Yeah.
get through it because you have something else to take your mind away from what you're doing because 'cause you're
Yeah.
looking at everything around
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, it takes the mundaneness out of training for sure, doing races, which I think is a lot of fun. If you pick the right race, sometimes I pick hard races to do, but it's fun. You get in a crowd of people. With tonal, you're by yourself. You're alone in your basement or your garage or wherever you have your tonal, and I think that's great. I love being alone, but also races you're feeding off the energy of off other people. You're encouraging people. You're running. People are encouraging you. It's a lot of
Mhm.
fun.
So what made you get into? Because I know before when you did, you were, more or less into, like, running races, but now
Mhm.
you've kinda shifted your kind of mindset towards going towards, like, doing trails
Right.
and, mountain climbing because I can remember on like I said, your social media of you climbing all these crazy rocks. Just
Yeah.
like, "Hold on, Cami."
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So it's been a journey for you with the, I would say, your running or race journey. So kind of like tell me how you got from like where your mindset changed or where did you see it? You were like, I can do something bigger and I can do something harder. Like, how did you
Okay.
get to that?
Well, first, let me start by saying I didn't start running until I was 48.
I
You
love
know,
that.
the tonal I started working out at like 46, 47 or so, but I really started focusing last year. So I'm 50 now. So um I think I'm trying to think. My daughter goes to a college that has a run for remembrance every spring. She goes to Virginia Tech, and in 2007 there was a shooting there, and 32 people lost their lives, and countless other people got hurt. And every year they do a race, and it's just a beautiful time. Nobody's racing; it's just a run, and you're remembering the event. So I had to start training for that. So I trained for that and was able to run that. And then I said, okay, well, let me see what else I can do. And then I just built from there. I was doing. Now I got to think. You might need to pause this, but I think last summer, 2025, I was at home taking mental health day for work, and I was just on my phone goofing off on TikTok, and I saw there was a race in France. It's the, UTMB Ultra Trail Mont Blanc. I can't remember what it is, but it's like the World Series for trail runners, and I thought, "That's cool. These crazy people running 50K, 100K, 200 miles." It looked a lot of fun, and I thought, "Boy, that would be great," and I was like, "Oh, maybe just to hike it because it's in the French Alps, and that's a bucket list trip for me." And so I started following a few of those people on social media, and I was watching and watching, and it wasn't until this year I thought, "You know what? Why if they can do it, why can't I?" So, let me see what I can do. I mean, I'm pushing everything, like I said, I've hit mid-age now. Let's see what my body's capable of doing. So why not push it? So I started slowly training for um let's see, I last spring or last so that okay, let me think about this, the timeline. So I watched the Ultra Mont Blanc World Series in the summer. And then I started training for a 13K or, a half marathon with my daughter at her school. They have a half marathon. And then I think I trained too much and I started getting a pain in my hip.
Mm.
And, what I think it was is that I started running with this gal and she said, "Why are you running like that?" I would run on land on the balls of my feet
Okay. Yeah.
instead of landing heel to toe like some people do. And she says, "You should be running heel to toe." I was like, "Well, you've run marathons, so let me start running heel to toe." And immediately within a week, I was in pain. So
Yeah.
I went to a, orthopedic doctor, and he's like, "Yeah, you're running wrong. You need to run foot to heel or ball to heel." Like,
Mhm.
I don't know, it's kinda hard to explain, but run from landing on the,
Ball of
balls
your
of your
foot.
yeah, the ball of your foot.
Mhm.
So he did X-rays, and I had a stress fracture, and it was devastating for me because I had 3 races I wanted to do in the fall. And, I had to pull away from all of them, which was just heartbreaking because I had spent all these months training, 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 and then I had to stop completely.
I
So
remember. That
yeah,
was I
it
remember. I
was
felt so bad for
heartbreaking.
you.
Yeah, I thought I had just pulled a muscle or something, but he's like, "No, you've got a stress fracture, and oh, you've got arthritis in this hip, you've got arthritis in this hip, and in about 5 to 10 years, you're probably gonna have a hip replacement." I thought, "Holy smokes, I'm only 30." Because in my mind, I'm nowhere near 50.
Right?
So I was like, "That's crazy." But I mean, then the age starts to catch up with you, like arthritis, that's what old people have, you know? But
I know.
I got my DEXA scan and everything looked good. No osteoporosis, osteopenia, whatever that hits us at 50 some or midlife. So I was
Mhm.
grateful for that. And so I just had to just r- nurse my leg. I was walking with a cane, which is super embarrassing when you show up at work with a cane and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, what happened here?" So I healed from that, and then I kinda took a break for the winter just because I was a little nervous. I was hiking a lot. My
Yes.
doctor said I could hike, cycle, and swim, and I said, "I'm not gonna do cycling or swimming. It's just not what I gives me joy." So hiking was a lot of fun, and I had a friend at the time who, was running with me, and she's like, "I'll go hiking with you." So it was nice. That's a true friend who will shift her training to go with what you're doing. I appreciate that. So so back to the spring when I was thinking about, why not me? Why can't I do this ultra marathoning? It was just a shift in my brain. So I was like, okay, well, here we go. So found a race kind of local. It was in Pennsylvania. It was my first trail race, not an ultra marathon, because ultra marathons are anything over a traditional marathon. So anything over 26.
26.
So,
Mhm.
but it's like really it's a 50K or more.
Yeah.
That's like the start of ultramarathon. So I thought, okay, let me do this trail race in Pennsylvania. It's what is uh it was 25K, which is 16, almost 17 miles. And I thought, oh, I can do that. Girlfriend, this was the hardest thing I have ever done. And it wasn't even that hard it's like within the first mile, you're climbing 800 feet up, which is pretty significant for a
Mhm.
newbie. And
Yeah.
it was all rocks. And I had not trained on any of that. It was the first time they did this particular race. And there was no video. So I was scouring the internet, YouTube to see what it would look like. Cause everybody videotapes themselves these days. So I thought
Yes.
there'd be a video and there was nothing. And it was challenging for me. and it was a little bit demoralizing because I had trained so much running and I could barely run this because I had not learned the technical side of running a trail race with rocks and roots, and I just had to hike most of it.
Yeah,
And
because
I
it's like
got
a
to
full body. That's like full
y
body doing
full
that.
body because you
Yeah.
have, your trekking poles and you gotta be able to pull yourself up when your legs can't do it, you're using your upper body strength. So, they have aid stations. They had 3 aid stations about every 5 miles, and my whole goal was to meet. Well, they have cutoff times at each aid station. So if you don't make the aid station by a certain time, they pull you from the race
Oh,
because
wow.
scientifically speaking, I guess, or whatever, they know you're probably not going to finish a race. So they pull you from the race at that point. And that was my whole goal, was to not sweat the cutoff times. So I would get to the aid station. They have the wildest. Here's the thing about ultra marathoning is that there's so many snacks on the road, and I love snacks. Girlfriend, I love
So
snacks. They had fruit, they had sandwiches, they had chips, they had Coke, they had all this stuff. They had drinks, they had energy drinks,
I'd
and
be
they're
so
very
I'd be so petrified to eat something new because I did a I've done 2
okay.
marathons,
Yeah,
and let me tell you, you eat the wrong thing.
yeah. It's scary. Well, they tell you a month beforehand what they're gonna serve at the aid
Oh,
stations.
okay.
And they have companies that sponsor the event. So this one was NOC, NAAK. They sponsored the event. So they had energy bars, they had their drinks, they had their chews. So I ordered a sample pack beforehand so I could train my stomach. Because I made a video on this recently that when you're training for ultra marathons, you're not just training your legs, you got to train your stomach too. Because
Mhm.
you have to learn, okay, I got to fuel my body every 30 minutes with carbs or something, and then every 45 minutes, I have to take a salt tablet or drink something salty. So you've really got to plan ahead when you're doing your training. So today I went on a trail run with a friend and we both had snacks that we would eat as we were going along. But here's one thing that I will never do is I will never try something new in the woods. I will only try something new when I'm at
I'd be
home because if it
petrified.
messes with my stomach,
Oh my
I know
god.
where the bathroom is. It's right around the corner. I have been running on the trails for a year now, and thank God I haven't had to poop or pee in the woods. That
Oh my
is like
god.
that and seeing snakes in the woods are my biggest fears, and so
I'm
far, marked safe from that.
I'm with you. Like, my
Yeah.
hardest I think my, like, hardest thing when I was going through my whole marathon training was losing my pinky toenail.
Oh, yeah. That's a big fear of mine too. All of mine are still on, thankfully. But
I
my
lost
daughter, she
mine
has
so
lost
many
a couple
times.
toenails with her training because she did the half marathon last year. But
Uh-huh.
you can go to get a pedicure and they'll put an acrylic nail right there on your toe if you need one. So her toes, they look great. They look like she's never lost a nail.
Oh my gosh, that was definitely one of my things.
Yeah.
I didn't have any, like, stomach issues, but I did have, like, the bloody feet. Like, I've had a couple in my
Yeah.
running days where
Oh.
my took my shoes off, my feet were full of blood.
Oh, golly. Was it wrong
Yeah.
socks? See, that's the thing.
It's
You have to train your body too for what you're gonna wear
yes,
because you never know what's gonna chafe on you.
that see,
So,
and a good man, nothing and I know you talk a lot about, like, we can kinda get into some of maybe your favorite shoes that you've used in your, running journey,
yeah.
but for me, definitely, like, socks, like, I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
stress enough, like,
Yeah,
dude
you gotta invest in some good quality gear because if you were on mile 3 of a 50-mile race and your feet are hurting, you're in for the pain cave, as they say. It is gonna be miserable. So you gotta train. I mean, you like, you're training your legs, you're training your stomach, and now you gotta train, like, do dress rehearsals for what you're gonna wear. Because if you wear hydration vest, is it gonna rub against your neck? Are the shorts, do they have a weird seam that's gonna cause chafing on your thighs? Is your sports
mhm,
bra gonna chafe,
chafe. That's the
It's so many
worst.
things.
I had underarm chafe.
Oh, I've had that before too. Yeah.
Oh, that hurt.
Yeah. So I usually carry some, I don't know if it's
It's a
Mega
chafe
Babe or
stick, they
some
have
sort
sticks
of.
now, right?
Yeah, the sticks, it looks like deodorant, and I
Yeah.
mean, before a race, you see people just rubbing stuff on their inner thighs, their armpits, anything to keep from that dreaded chafing because it's miserable.
So what type of shoes, have we like, on your trail? Let's say you like, your last trail race, like, which
Mhm.
shoes did you wear?
I like the Ultra brand. I
Mhm.
did the Ultra Temp whatevers for my last trail race because it was very rocky, so I wanted to make sure I had shoes that would support my ankle really well because you don't wanna twist your ankle, obviously, so I that's just my favorite brand. It's the one that I've enjoyed the most, and I use them another style for less rocky runs too, also Altra.
And that's
And I
like,
use Altra for lifting too. I have lifting shoes and
oh, I didn't know
they have
they had
everything.
lifting shoes.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
very
just street
cool.
shoes too, street runner or yeah, pavement
Huh.
shoes.
I
Yeah.
did not know that. Yeah, because shoes, like I can, like I said, with my running, it's and it also what irritates me. I don't know if it happens in like the trail world, but when they change the shoe
Yeah.
from one year to the next, and you're
Yes.
like,
Yes.
why?
Yeah, and I did that last year. I had some Brooks, which I also like Brooks for running too. I
Hmm.
bought the exact same model, Brooks Glycerin 17. Same one, just a different year later, different color, and I was like, what are these rocks I'm running on? I don't understand it.
Yeah,
I
and then
don't
you
know
get
how it
like knee
changes that much.
pain, and then you get hip pain, and you're like, wait, what is
Yeah.
going? I did not
Yeah,
have this
and
before. Like, what's
right, and
going on?
blisters, right, it's crazy.
So now we're heading into a new training cycle that you've been in
Mhm,
recently because,
yes.
like you said, you were posting the video about watching those people doing an ultra marathon and you shared, which I thought was hilarious, by the way, that you shared yourself talking like, oh, I would never do a marathon. I would never do a marathon. No, 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 I would never run a
Yeah,
marathon. And then you're like a year later, you're like, okay,
yeah,
I'll do a marathon.
yeah, so
So
never
I,
say never.
So it's
And
like
the
your
only
own words come back at you, and I love that because
right,
that's happened to me, numerous times.
yeah, and the only reason why I'm doing a marathon is because it happens to land on the same weekend as my last long run for the ultra marathon training plan, so I thought, "Why not?"
And
Which
you
is
talk
so why not?
and I
It was
loved how
expensive too. That's
oh,
the thing about running is that it's super expensive, which is
yes,
crazy because it's just you and you're just running, but the race fees, the equipment you need, it gets expensive pretty quickly.
and I loved how you talked about, how when being surrounded by people, like when you're in this training cycle for this ultra that you're training for, we'll get into that race coming up, but how you're using that, doing races, signing up for races to help the morale,
Yeah,
because during these long runs, it's hard. You hit
it is.
walls, you hit
Yeah,
numerous walls when you're
yeah,
training.
yeah.
So tell me about that.
Well, you get these training plans. I was doing a Garmin training plan through the watch and they would only give you a week at a time, which I hated because I wanted to know what I was, what was coming ahead. So I found one. Um, it is a her name is Sally McRae. Her username is Yellow Runner, and she does a lot of ultra marathons. She's won a lot of ultra marathons, and I just like her philosophy. And I found her training plan and I bought it, and there's all these long runs on Saturdays, and I thought, you know what, that sucks, but if I could find something to break up the monotony of that, like another race, maybe a 5K or I did in 2 weeks there's a 12K that I'm going to do at Quantico, which is a Marine Corps base here in Virginia, and
Hmm.
my son's a Marine now, so I thought, well, that'll be fun, and it's where the officer candidate school is, so they're running. So I thought, once I signed up for it, then I did some more research, and I was like, oh boy, I didn't know this was going to be this hard, but this is what I'm learning is that things may be hard, but it's not impossible.
It is
So
not impossible.
it's not impossible. There are things in life that are impossible, but it's not impossible. As long as you're trained well, you've got the right stuff. Because when I did that, my first trail race, people were just keeling over, not keeling over, but were bent over on the side of the hill, like cramping up, and I was cramping up, and you just encourage one another as you're going. Like I remember telling a lot of people, "This is hard, but it's not impossible. We can do it. It's temporary, and its pain is temporary."
Hmm.
I mean, it was hard. I was crying by mile 11 on that race because it was just,
I
I
felt
hit that
that for
mental
you.
block at that point. Let me
I
stop for a second. When I was doing that 12K or that 25K trail race, you and your daughter, I'm gonna cry. You and your daughter would set like you would post videos on Instagram, and it gave me so much life. Thank you.
I love you, and I know what it feels like when
Yeah,
hitting a wall and you feel like your body shuts down, but your
yeah,
brain
yeah,
is still going, and it's like
yeah,
an emotional battle sometimes that you have to go through. For me, it was in that 20 mile. in a
Yeah.
marathon. That 20-mile brick wall that you have to run through,
Yeah.
you need more than what's in here. Like, you
Yeah.
need people in your
Yeah.
head. You need
Yeah.
words in your head because the body is starting to shut down. It's trying to tell you to stop.
Yeah.
And,
And
like,
it's I think it might be more of your mind is telling you to stop more so than your body, sometimes. Well, my body was actually stopping on that race because I was not planned for the hydration side of things. My muscles just would seize up on me so much on that race, which was really awful too. Because once the muscle cramps are over, then your legs are really heavy and they hurt. So,
mhm.
yeah, those ooh, yeah, you gotta power through mentally a lot.
Yeah, and you
But
need
also, I mean, I prayed a lot too during that race. It wasn't
yeah.
just, "Cami, you can do it." I had to lean heavily on my God and my faith to get me through some of that stuff because it was just I needed help, you know? It was
And
hard mentally and emotionally.
like I said, I can remember my daughter and I watching you, like, we were
Yeah,
watching your Instagram like a hawk, and we were
thank
just like
you.
we were like I'm like, "Abigail, we need to send her a video." I was like, "I
Yes.
can feel that
Uh,
she's breaking down." I
yeah,
was like, "We
yeah,
need to
yeah,
send
yeah.
her
I'm gonna give you
something."
my cell phone number after this, and then when I do my 50K,
Yeah.
or the marathon next month, you can encourage me through text messages.
Yes,
Just just
because it is. It takes like, whether that be whether people are training for strength training, whether, even if you're not training for anything, accountability,
yeah.
consistency, you
Yeah.
need that.
Yeah.
You need those people in your corner because you never get stronger or do anything alone.
Right. Yeah. I did a 10-mile race in DC this spring and I was standing in my corral. It was so cold and I was like, this is going to be hard. I'm by myself. I'm alone. And I looked up and you know who I saw? Luis. Let's go Poppy from Tonal.
I love
And
it.
we hugged each other and we ran that whole race together and it was so much fun. Having a buddy with you is just incredible.
It
'Cause
is.
you do need that encouragement. Somebody say, "Hey, you can do it. Let's go. Push a little bit further, push a little bit harder. You got this."
And
You
I
need
think that's
that.
kind of like something that you're doing now within your community is building, a little club
Yeah.
that's grown. Because I can remember, I know we talk about this a lot, but you made a reel one time that really resonated with me about, like, making friends and
Yeah.
meeting people,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
you remember that?
I do, yeah, because I have friends, but they're not local, friends that I
Yes.
can text, and, I should say that was last year, and I said, "I gotta do something, I need to make some friends." My husband was part of all these different little running or these little men's groups to work out, and I said, "I need that too, I need some friends." So I started a run club. It started off as a run club for women in my town, same age. It's usually like between 40s and actually 70s. We have a grandma on our running club.
Oh, that's
But
awesome.
the runners kind of fell off. So it was just me running. But we would first when we were the running club last year, it was like a run club of 3 or 4. We would run like at 7 in the morning on a Saturday and at 8 other women would walk cuz some women were saying, "Well, I want to walk." So then we would run 3 miles and then we would walk 3 miles with these ladies. And it was a lot of fun. Sometimes it's 3 people, sometimes it's been up to 12 people. And we're all middle-aged women so it was just me wanting to find friends and then encouragement. And I mean, I've met some really dear friends, and one of my friends, Jennifer, she and I are going to do a 55K next spring. So we're starting to train. We did a hike this morning. So yeah, it's fun to have friends to do life with you. And
Mhm.
by Saturday about 11, I'm done with them, and I'm like, my social battery's full. I'm good. I'm going to go home now. That's about
I know.
it.
My introvert I'm with you.
Yeah,
My battery lasts for so long, and then I'm just
yeah.
like, "Ooh,
Yeah, I'm
I
good.
can't."
I'm good. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's
we
what helps, and it's another it's that, having somebody that understands, like, what you're training for and that
yeah.
is going to encourage you. It's
Yes.
that positiveness around you. It's like,
Yeah.
you don't want people to be around you, they're gonna be like, yeah, you can't do that. That's crazy." No,
Well,
you
that's
want
my
people.
mom. She goes, "Cams, you're gonna kill yourself well on these races." I'm like, "I'm not gonna kill myself on these races. I'll be fine." But she's a worrywart, so she's afraid I'm gonna get hurt or something. But
No, that's what
yeah.
smart training is for. It
Yes,
preps you
exactly.
for it.
Yes.
And it's not it's like with training, there's always another race.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
there's always, you know, a next time. There's
Yeah,
always, I can do this better because it is
yeah.
I can remember I was training for my first marathon and, I got sick. I
Mm,
was like very sick
yeah.
and I was in like getting ready for taper, right? So
Mhm.
I was getting in the loads of, my racing and I got sick
Yeah.
and I had to back off my training for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I got in and with being off for 2 to 3 weeks and ran the marathon and I did it.
Yeah.
And it's just those cards sometimes, it's just like, having a baby, right? You have
Mhm.
this birth plan and you want everything to go this way.
Right.
And
Yeah. It
sometimes it's just like
it goes sideways. Life goes sideways when you least expect it. You've got this plan ahead of you and you get hurt, you get sick, somebody else gets sick, you gotta take care of them. You
Mhm.
gotta learn how to pivot real fast when it comes to training and races.
And I think that's why women are so good at training.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I have to
Yeah.
say it. Like, I think that's why, because we've had to pivot so much, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like when we get into like, when you had your injury, yeah, it sucked. And
Mhm.
it was like, I worked so hard to get here, but look where you are now.
Yeah.
Like you are signed up for an ultra marathon.
Yeah. That's insane. It's crazy because last year I was like, "Oh, look at those people. Look how fun it is." And then I just had this light bulb like, "Why can't I? If they can do it, why can't I?"
And that's right.
So,
So
yeah.
that race is in November, right?
Yes.
Of this year.
Yes, this year. Yes.
Okay.
But I also want everybody to know that I'm not a great fast runner, and that's okay. I've
Yes.
always said I was a middle of the pack gal, which is traditionally where I'm at. That 25K trail race, my first one, I was at the very back. I was literally the back. I had 20 minutes to spare before the end of the cutoff time. So that was humbling for me. But, I know what I'm capable of. I'm a newish runner. I'm never going to win a race, and that's not my goal.
Right.
My friend at work, he was training for an Ironman, and I said, "Oh, how fast do you think you want to get it done?" He says, "Cami, I'm a completer, not a competer." And I said, "Okay, that's a good philosophy. Like, you just want to finish it, you know?
Repeat that, repeat that, what he
A
said?
completer, not a competer." Yeah. The goal is to
Wow.
finish, not to race it, you know? I'm only racing it for me. So, like, with ultra marathons, they have elite runners at the beginning and then us amateurs in the back, and they
Mhm.
get to go first, and they're always gonna win. This very
Right.
rare that an
They're
amateur person's
professionals.
gonna win when you're running against an elite person who's sponsored, who all they do is train. They've got these scientists backing them, giving them formulas and all of their fuel, which is
Top-notch
fine.
training stuff.
Yeah, and that's all they do, but my goal is just to see what I can do with myself. I've never had any
Mhm.
goal of being on any podium. I know that that's not how it's gonna be for me, and that's never been my goal.
I think like what you said is great, and it's also to do things that other people won't. At
Yeah,
least that's how, like, I see it. Like,
yeah,
I wanna show what's possible.
yes,
I don't want you to think that it's like you said, I want what is possible. I
yes.
want you to think it's possible, so I'm gonna show you it's
Yes.
possible.
Yeah, and you've been fantastic about that with weightlifting and strength training and all that, and I think that's why I started posting on social media is because I wanted other women my age to know that it's not too late to change your life. I started working out with the Tonal when I was 40, 60 pounds heavier than I am now. And you
Mm.
know what? If you ever lift a gallon of milk, I think that's 7 pounds. That's heavy.
Yes.
And so I think about that times 3 or 4 or 5, however much weight I lost. I think that is I cannot believe I was carrying that much weight around. It's so heavy. Anyway, regardless, you can probably cut that part out. But
No.
but
No.
but see, I lost my train of thought there. You can probably cut that out too. But so okay, so this age, like, we're in the middle of our life now, and
Right.
I know my mom never talked about menopause. We never talked about periods. It
Nope.
was be a woman of mystery, Cami. Be a woman of mystery. That was always what I was told. So nobody ever talked about it when we were younger. So we didn't know what to
No.
expect. And whammo, here we are now. And there's been a lot more chatter about menopause, perimenopause, which I think is fantastic. But I still think nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody knows
No.
what to expect next, which is unfortunate. I mean, I could go off on men and women health, and it's
Right.
so astoundingly different.
It
But
is.
but regardless, we're learning, and I think that's great. Each generation learns from the last generation on how to be better, and I think that's helping us. But I think, like I said, my goal was to encourage other women that just because you've hit this certain age doesn't mean you
It's not
gotta
over.
stop. That I've changed. I mean, I have completely changed my life. Instead of being sedentary and eating at Chick-fil-A all the time, now I'm running, I'm lifting, I'm doing Pilates, it's hiking, it's a 180 on my life, It's great. I
Mhm.
love it.
And I
And
think
I'm bringing other women along with me, which is a lot of fun.
yes. Yes, because I
So,
think sometimes it's, especially with the age of like social media and perfection and everything else like that, I
yeah.
think it's really important to like, how you're sharing your whole journey
Mhm.
on you going for, to do the ultra is that it shows that you can and that, even though, we have our, issues that come up with life, with perimenopause and menopause and stuff like that, that we always have to pivot,
Mhm.
like we've been kind of talking about, is, it gives that aspiration to other people that can be like, okay, you know, I don't have to be perfect. I
Mhm.
don't have to be, I can just do it. And I
Yeah.
think that's like really important is that
Yeah.
people realize that you know, there is no such thing as perfection. I don't care if you're an elite athlete or, you're, Susie Joe from next door. There's
Mhm.
there's no there's no perfection, but there is like when you inspire other people to do the hard thing and make them believe in themselves. Like I talk about this a lot. You borrow belief before you build your own.
Yeah.
So surround yourself with people that believe, and then that is, like, contagious.
Yeah. That's true about my walking group. I've got these women that um they just want to walk until like the last few months one gal said, "You know what? I might want to train for a 5K. Will you help me?" I said, "Absolutely." So
Love that.
what we've been doing all summer is trying to beat our record from we always kind of do the same trails. And I said, "Okay, we did this 4 miles in an hour and 17 minutes last week. Let's see if we can beat it by 1 or 2 minutes this week." So it's building their endurance right now. It's just walking and climbing, we it's usually a 500 foot elevation, which isn't a lot, but it's a lot for somebody who hasn't done it before.
Right,
And
right.
I think that's been helpful to build the endurance now so that when we start doing interval training for running that they've got more power inside them than I think they realize they do.
Yeah, because it
So,
is. It's just like, strength training. I
yeah.
cannot walk up to the bar and just pick up 100 pounds.
Right.
I
You
have
gotta start small.
you gotta
Yeah.
start somewhere.
Which is humbling if you wanna just go balls to the wall at the beginning. You gotta start with a 5 pounds sometimes or just the first mile or run for a minute, walk for a minute. You've just gotta pace yourself. You just can't go straight out of the cannon real quick. And
No.
one of the gals on my team, there's 2 sisters on my walking club, and one drives the other. And I think the sister that drives, I think she just felt like a tag along, or I kind of felt like we were dragging her along for the longest time. And then maybe 3 weeks ago, I saw her start going a little bit faster. And then last week, we were on the trail. We started. She goes, "I'm not going to finish this until we get to 4 miles. That is my goal. I'm going to get to 4 miles." So I said, "All right. First, we were dragging you along, and now you have a goal set, and I love that." It's so
Yep.
much fun, and I'm glad I could be part of that, encouraging people and getting people to know that they can do more than what they're starting out as.
Yeah, and
It's a lot of fun.
that's really important. Like I said,
Yeah.
is having that belief. Like,
Yeah,
it's so
exactly.
contagious is having those people around you.
Yeah.
So let's kind of get into like some of the your training going up into the ultra. Like
Mhm.
where do you feel like where are you struggling and where are you like you're feeling like this is solid?
Um, I think I can do time on feet pretty well. This morning I did 12 miles and I felt really good. I did 4 miles along my own. I did a 4-mile loop, and then my walking club, there was 7 of us. We did 4 miles, and then 5 of them left, and then 2 of us stayed behind, and we did it again. So, the point with ultramarathon is time on feet. You When you're
Okay.
training, you're not trying to go for certain miles. You say, "Okay, I'm gonna do whatever I can do for this set amount of time." So, I can do that. I can go for a long time. What I'm really worried about is elevation gain at this point because my 50K in November has 5,000 feet elevation gain from start to finish.
Mhm.
And that's really scary to me because the 25K I did in April was just under 4,000 and I struggled, big time. So I'm a little nervous about that, especially because there's not a lot of elevation in my town. I'm in Northern Virginia, which is a lot of suburban area, and the
Mhm.
trails near me are either 200 feet elevation or 500 feet. And I every time I do it, I'm like, "I have got to do more. I've gotta find where, better places to go." And the Shenandoah National Park is about 45 minutes to an hour from here. So I gotta go out there and just spend some time climbing mountains, running mountains best I can, learn how to run with trekking poles. So I'm really nervous about that part, the elevation gain. So,
So do you think it's more of like a breathing thing that when you're getting up in that elevation?
Um, I no, not so
No?
much. I mean, the elevation's gonna be a lot higher out there. It's in California, so in the mountains of California, so that maybe I haven't got that now I am, now that you mentioned that, now I'm getting scared about the lack of air. Thanks. Like, but no, it's
Well,
the
no, I mean,
climbing
it
part.
it it gets like it's like regulating your heart rate and
Yeah,
breathing stuff, which
right.
I think is, we had, Coach KC with, like doing breath work and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Maybe that, looking into doing some breath work
yeah,
while
that
you're,
yeah,
in your
and just
training might be helpful.
yeah, and yeah, because my heart rate can get pretty high, but yeah, the climbing straight up, that I'm really nervous about because I was looking at the trail on an app and, doing like a 3D flyover, and I thought, "Holy crap, how am I gonna do this?" But one step at a time. I'm gonna do it
Well,
one
I
step
think
at a
it's
time.
I think it's almost, the adrenaline
Yes,
will get the
yeah,
best of you and push you
yeah.
through.
I think so too, and now I'm learning.
Yeah.
When I did the 25K, my muscles spasmed so bad because I was lacking in hydration and salt, and I really struggled with those muscle cramps because I had never experienced that before, and it just kept happening and then kept happening. And I had salt tablets with me, and I had shared some with some gals before the race. I met them on TikTok because they saw my videos and they said, "Oh, I'm going to do that race too." So when we met each other at the expo, I said, "Oh, I have all these extra salt tablets. Would you want them?" And they said, "Sure." And then I didn't
You're
have
like,
enough
"Wait a
for me.
second."
Yeah. But you know what? There was a gentleman, and I've mentioned this in Instagram. There was a gentleman there who had there was a 50K the day before, 50K race, and his wife was doing the race I was doing. So he was different places along the trail to encourage her. And every time he saw me, it was when I had a muscle cramp. And he always had these salt drinks with me, elements, whatever they're called.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't have any water, and he's like, "They're the worst tasting thing ever." The first because it's just salt, it's like salt water, but you need that when you're running and you're
Right.
dehydrated. And he's like, "Here, have one." I was like, "I don't have any water." He's like, "You're just gonna have to raw dog it, just swallow it." And I'm putting in salt coming out of my mouth. But it saved me, it works super fast. So then I would run, and then I would see him at an aid station, he's like, "Here you go," and he had another one for
Oh,
me, and
I
then
love
he's like,
that.
"You need to drink." They'll have pickle juice there, they have cups of pickle juice because of all the salt in the pickle juice,
Oh my
and
god.
it's the dumbest thing ever, like, I'm like, How am I on the side of a mountain drinking pickle juice?" But it
Ugh.
helps, so I've learned from that race how to fuel myself with the salt and and yeah, it's awful, but, I
I
even have on my watch so I have a Garmin watch, and
uh-huh.
I have it alert set up so that every 30 minutes I eat something, an alarm would go off and it says "eat," so I would pull something out of my vest, I would eat, Energy True, applesauce, whatever I had on me, and then
Mhm.
every 45 minutes it depends on how much you're sweating too. It would say salt tablet or something, so I would know to drink. I'm fine hydrating with water, just fine, I don't need help reminding me, but water's not always the best thing that you need
No, sometimes it's harder on your stomach.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've learned that I gotta take the awful tasting stuff so that I don't get the muscle cramps anymore.
So what kind of like what's your playlist on these like runs? Like what do you list like what is your go-to when you're doing like your miles?
Mhm.
Like
M&M.
what is it?
M&M, yeah. Not yeah, like, I have a lot of Eminem, but then I also have, like, the Dirty Dancing soundtrack, I have country music, but Eminem has a song, "Till I Collapse,"
Yes.
that one gets me through it, but
Mhm.
when I did the trail race, I realized real quick that I didn't need Eminem on that race, I needed God.
Yeah.
So, I had my Eminem explicit R-rated, X-rated songs playlist, but then I had another one that was running/worship music,
I love
and I
it.
that's and it they not one banger is on that album, but it was enough for me to it was the lyrics and a reminder that I'm not doing this on my own, so
Right.
I did listen to those songs on repeat, which helped me significantly,
I love
but
that.
when I'm training, it's Venom, it's smack that, shake that ass, all that
Yes.
stuff, but when I am trying to beat the clock, it's, worship music.
And I think that's, and I think that like kind of like goes down to like when you were talking about like, you going up the hills that you're kind of worried about and like how you said like how your playlist changes.
Mhm.
I truly believe that because sometimes in our training, like I'm the first person to put heavy metal on,
Yeah.
right? Like I will
Yeah.
I will go total beast.
Mhm.
But there's sometimes where that music will get the best of
Yeah.
me and
Yeah.
the
The
workout
worst of you.
training
Yeah.
will not.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
I'm using my heart rate is getting like, I'm getting myself so amped up instead
Yeah.
of being calm in the
Yes.
moment, and that's
Yes.
something that Joe has been talking about in this program that I'm in Pumped, that he's, like, talking about being in that calmness, like,
Mhm.
calming yourself, calming your face, like, don't put tension where you don't need tension.
Yes. Yeah.
And I love that you said it because sometimes I forget that sometimes too as well, is that sometimes you don't need the hardest like playlist in your head.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need that calm.
Yeah, and the reminders, that comes with the music, not just "F
Right.
this, F that, shake your ass," all that
Right.
stuff. I need
Right.
stuff that's gonna, like, put me back, center my mind and my heart in a
Mhm.
better place
Yeah,
when
because
I'm in this and
we
when
get
I'm in the pain cave.
overstimulated is like a
Yeah.
huge thing.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
I think that takes away from like your whole mindset of where your brain should be.
right.
And yeah,
Yeah.
I totally am like all for that because my
Yeah.
playlists are all over the place.
Yeah.
So
I have, I had reminders on my body, like, I wrote a few words from a Bible verse on my hand that said "all things." So the Bible verse is, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." So I
mhm.
wrote "all things" on the top of my hand so that every time I looked at my watch to see what my pace was, I was reminded, "Okay, you're not doing this alone. You can do it." So the Bible verse, it says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me," which a lot of people use that as like, okay, well, I can do whatever I want and not God's going to get me through it. I'm going to win this race because God says this. But that's not what that Bible verse says. It's saying that no matter what you're going through, no matter the crap, the hard, God's always going to be there to support you and see you through it. Not to get you
Mhm.
to win it, but he's going to be there, and not just in running, but life. When life goes sideways all the time. We all have this trauma from life, and if I look back at my life, cuz I've been a Christian pretty much all my life, and that is my foundation is faith and then family. So I know that when times are hard, I know that God's going to be with me no matter what. And I think that helped me on the race to be reminded that I'm not doing this alone. He's going to help me. And I think that that was a good mind shift from my mind and my heart, was especially that music too, that
Mhm.
that I needed that encouragement and reminder of faith to get me through the hard time of the race.
I
So,
yeah, I totally agree with that
yes.
because I've been raised Catholic my whole life.
Mhm.
So I was very much involved in the church and stuff growing up, and
Mhm.
it truly is, like, it truly is, like, when you're down when I had, like, the whole cancer thing and everything that kind of,
Mhm.
like, went through that, is
Yeah.
it is, like, a great reminder that, like, it is he's setting you up for something bigger, right?
Yeah.
May
Yeah.
It's hard at that moment, right? It's hard at that
Yeah.
moment. It's hard at that you're hitting a brick wall, in your last, like, couple laps, and
Mhm.
you're hitting that wall, but he's putting you through that wall for a reason.
Right, yeah. And I mean, who knows what the reason is, but also it's a reminder that he's still here for me, you know?
Mhm.
I think, as Christians and have being a person of faith, the Bible never says that we're gonna be protected from harm in bad times. The Bible has never promised a life of goodness,
Right.
but it does say that no matter what you go through, God's gonna be there for you. If you reach out and if you look ahead, that it's like with trail racing. You have to look at the ground a lot because there's rocks, there's roots. So you're always looking 8 to 12 feet ahead of you. So by
Mhm.
the time your body has gotten there, your mind has already registered the dangers. But faith is the opposite of that. Like you can't always be looking for the danger ahead of you as cuz in life because you're always gonna be afraid if you're always looking
Yes.
for something. So
Yes.
you gotta rely on something bigger and better on you to protect you from that bad times. So,
That's
faith is
huge.
everything to me.
That's huge
Helps.
because it
Yeah,
does. I think it holds a lot of people back.
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like how you were talking about, like, inspiring people to do things. It's kind
Mhm.
of like that same kind of thing is that, sometimes having that faith in something, having that faith in something bigger, if,
Yeah.
not missing that piece, it could hold you back from realizing there's so much more in front of you.
Yeah, right. My final race is heaven, that's what I'm
Mhm.
running towards, and that's what, I'm trying to live my life in such a way that, when I've run the final race, he's there saying, "Good job, well done," there's that Bible verse that he says, when you get there, "Well done, good and faithful servant." I mean, that's oof. Anyway. It's powerful to me,
It is.
that we are running the race of life, We
Mhm.
only got one life and, it's how you live it and,
It
this
truly
is
is,
not
and
yeah.
doing amazing things, like,
Yes.
while we're here, and
Yes,
and it
and helping other people along the way.
Mhm. And especially with you with, trail racing, you're seeing, like, all of nature's, you know, God's gifts all
Yeah,
around you when you're,
yeah,
like, racing up, the rocks and,
yeah.
not saying that you're gonna see animals, but the animals.
Yeah. So my friend, we have this women's group on Facebook and I post all of our runs and walks on it and say, and then my friend who's on the walk, she's post pictures that of like turtles and frogs and deer that she's seen on the very same trail I'm on. And I
Uh-huh.
was like, not only did I not see those animals, I didn't even see you taking those pictures. What am I doing? I'm missing out on so much.
And
She's
that's
like,
what's,
I
like,
know,
so
you've got
and
to
I
post
think
it.
that's what's amazing about there because I have a question down here about, like, some fun questions was, like, would you pick a trail race or a road race?
Trail. All the time because there's so much more to see, and it's easier on your body too if you find the right place. Because there's the trails near me are very well kept. There's a
Mhm.
lot of wood chips, so it's a lot easier on your body to land on soft than it is on the pavement, in my perspective.
Now are you doing any carb loading during your training?
Not yet. I need to figure that out. I don't that part, the non-running side of nutrition, like the
Mhm,
when I'm not running,
mhm.
I'm lacking on that. I've got to figure
I
that
It's hard.
card lobing, yeah, it is, yeah. Like,
It is.
I had some pasta last night, and I was like, "Oh, I'm carb loading," but no, I just wanted pasta.
I remember before, oh my gosh, I remember before because that's another thing, another thing that they don't tell you with, like, racing and everything is, like, what you eat the night before your
Right,
race.
yeah, and before I went out today, I knew I was gonna do 12 miles, and I can't run on 12 miles, mostly because 'cause I'm afraid, again, full circle to the beginning, I'm not pooping in the woods, I
I
will
know.
not. Thank God I haven't yet. There'll probably come a time. So I'll just eat, like, a Pop-Tart before the race, that's not healthy, but the sugar in it will help
Mhm.
give me the energy to at least get going, but I just can't run on a full stomach. So,
I'm team Rice Krispie Treat.
yeah, a lot of people say that, I haven't tried that yet,
I'm
you
team
know?
Rice Kris that's what
And
I
you
when what I always did was Rice Krispies.
Yeah, but you're on the if you're doing an ultra marathon, people bring out a bag of potatoes. They're eating potatoes on the run.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they're just like a little Ziploc, and they've got little potato like mashed potato balls that they have, and they because it's I don't know what's in it. See, that's how bad I am with this, but I guess it's the sugar and the simple carbs of
Carbs.
potatoes
Mhm.
that get you going through the next 5 miles. I haven't reached that part where I'm boiling potatoes before a run, but I can see how it's
I can't
helpful.
wait for that to happen.
I'll
I'm
let you know.
excited for you. My
Don't
Irish
worry, there'll
self
be
is
probably a video on Instagram if I'm eating mashed potatoes at mile 13.
oh my god, that'd be awesome. That'd
Yeah.
be so awesome.
But that's
Like
what the elite people do, like, I've watched every video on YouTube, and take a stop, and they're eating mashed potatoes on at the aid station. Their crew will bring them hash browns from McDonald's, it's potatoes are the thing, apparently, that's the new thing. Who
I
wants to eat a goo? And that's another thing because 'cause they've got goos, they got the candies, and after about 6 miles of eating that stuff or 10 or 12 miles, I found myself chewing on these gummies for 5 minutes before I could finally get it down because it's
oh
all
yeah.
that sugar will really get to you after a while.
Yeah.
It's hard to consume that much sugar at a time,
And
even
it's
though that's what your body needs,
yeah,
the
but you've I
carbohydrate.
mean, it's like that whole thing of, like, prepping,
Yeah,
yourself for certain things and, it's all a learning process of,
right, yeah,
like, like you said, like, learning outfit, learning what you eat, learning what you don't eat, hydrate,
yeah,
like, so much goes into it that you're kinda just like, "We'll try this out and see what happens."
yeah, just throwing things against the wall till you land on something that works for you.
So what has like, if you had to pick in, like, all of your training, what has been your favorite part?
Hmm. I think running is a form of therapy for me. Getting out there when I'm running by myself, the quiet times, I'm not always listening to music, sometimes just the nature. I like
Mhm.
to be by myself and kind of think about things, um, pray, think work out things I'm struggling with. That has helped. That's been a surprise. What was the question? What?
What's your favorite part what has
No,
been your favorite
favorite.
part about training?
Um, just knowing what I'm capable of, learning that I can keep going and it's been interesting because I dated this guy years and years and years ago, and I said, "Oh, I'm gonna start running." He's like, "Oh, that's bad on your knees." I was like, "Okay, then I'm not gonna start running." I mean, what's wrong with me that I just took some guy who he's not even doing what I wanna do, and he's telling me it's bad, so why would I take his advice?
Mhm.
So now it's proving people that they're wrong. I like
Yeah.
that part of running. Um, my favorite part of it, I don't know. Just proving to myself and other people that I can do more.
Yeah, you can.
At this age especially,
Yeah, you can.
you know?
You're gonna smoke it.
No, I'm not. I'm not
Yes,
gonna
you
smoke
are.
anything.
Yes,
I'm
you
not.
are. Yes, you
I'm
are.
my goal again is just to finish,
That is
before
let me rephrase it.
okay.
You showing up to the starting line
Yes.
is
Yeah, that's
smoking it.
yes. Okay, thank you. Then I smoked it.
You
Okay.
smoked it.
Yes.
And I think that's, like, sometimes when people, like, it's like, when I talk with, like, people with strength training, I tell them, "You just showing up and
Yeah.
hitting start is
Yeah.
all that matters.
That's true.
The numbers that Tonal's giving you doesn't matter. The
Yeah.
volume total number doesn't matter. You know what
Yes.
matters is you just hitting start
Yes.
and
And
doing the best that you can because
yes.
that is all that ever matters, and having fun. If you are
Yes.
not having fun,
Right. Then what's the
you're
point?
losing the plot. You're
Yes.
losing the plot.
Yes. Very true. Yes. So
Like,
there's a thing in ultra marathon, it's called DNF, dead effing last. So and they get awards. They get a prize for being DNF. No, wait, no, 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 no. Let me rephrase that. I'll start over. In ultra marathoning, they have something called DFL,
DFL, dead
dead
fucking last.
effing last.
I
DNF means you did not finish, so I said that wrong. So DFL, you want to be DFL before DNF. So dead effing last means that you cross that finish line before the cutoff
cut off.
time, and they
Okay.
win a prize, and that is some of the most exciting part of the race to me.
I think
So
so too.
yeah, so when I did my first trail race, they had cutoff time, and I was very close to the cutoff time. It was like 7 hours, and I finished it at 6:39 or something. So I
Uh-huh.
was there at the end to cheer the last people on, and that is the most exciting thing for me, is to watch the final person cross the line
I
because
love that.
there's it was a 25K and some people did it in 2 hours, and there's somebody that did it for 7 hours, and they put their heart everybody's putting their heart and soul in it, and sometimes it takes somebody the longest to do it. And
Mhm.
that is the most exciting part for me, is to watch. I mean, it was exciting to watch the people run first or finish first, the 50K that I watched the day before. That was fun watching it. But there's something about seeing that person who put that just is
Took everything they had.
took everything they had, yeah. And it's hard, but when you running down that final chute, it's the most exciting part. It's so fun. I
I
mean, I remember
that's what
standing
made
there.
me wanna that's what made me wanna do marathons is
Yeah.
because I was just like, it's that corner,
Yeah, yes,
that little bit that you know that you're turning and you
yes,
know what's ahead of you,
yes,
that gives you that last bit of, like, "Let's go."
yes, yeah, yep. It's fun, and I remember right before I did that final turn, I got another cramp in my leg, and so did this other guy right next to me, and we were just I mean, you could see the final turn, and we could not get our bodies to move. So we stood there, we just stared at each other, we're like, "We gotta do it, it's right there. We got 20 minutes before the end of this time, but we gotta do it." So somehow, you figure it out and you pull everything out, and then you start running slow, and then you turn it, and something shifts inside you,
Mhm.
that final gear, and you've got all this energy. And for me, my daughter was at the end, and
I
I could
remember.
hear her screaming and yelling and jumping up and down, and boom, I was able to finish it, and it was very exciting.
And it's
And I
it's
cried. I
like
cried. I don't know if you saw that video
yes,
where I said,
yes.
I did it with time to spare," because
Well,
I
it's kind of like we were talking about, like, us moms, like, having kids, it's like, we forget about all the bad like,
yeah.
as soon as you're holding that little bundle of joy, you forget everything that it took you to get to that point.
Yes, because training is hard. It is hard to train. I work full time outside of the house, and I'm gone. I work 45 minutes from home, so that's an hour and a half commute time. So I've got to run at the end of the day when I'm dead tired, or I got to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, and I
Mm,
either run outside or on the treadmill. And you got to fit all this training in so that when you get to the final race, you've prepared, but you are neglecting your family at sometimes, you're neglecting sleep, your social life, you've gotta put all that stuff behind so that you can be prepared to run the race.
yeah, that's the big part
And
of training is,
yeah,
like,
and so
sometimes
when you finish that finish line, you're like, "Man, all that was worth it," I
yes.
think. Yeah.
It will be, you know
Yeah.
it will
It
be.
will be, yeah, and I mean, it's sometimes you guys gotta make sure you gotta get your family on board with it. Because I remember on my birthday, my husband and I were out to dinner, and I was like, "Listen, here's my goal for the year. You're gonna have to get behind this." I said, "The extra money is gonna go towards running shoes, some running clothes to race registrations." I said, "But this is what my dream is right now. I need your support in order for me to do this. I need you to understand I'm gonna be going to bed early. I'm getting up early." So having the support system is also key too,
Yes.
because that
Yes.
helps.
Because it's it need that person to uplift you when it's
Yeah, you
or
can't do
remind
things.
you to
Yeah,
get up and go.
yeah, doing life alone is hard, so if you got somebody in your corner, boy, and if you got a bunch of somebodies in your corner, that's even better.
A bunch of somebody's
A bunch of
exactly.
somebodies, a bunch of friends texting. You were messaging me, my friend from work was messaging me, and then I had another friend messaging me, she's like, "Hey, are you gonna be at mahjong tomorrow night?" I'm like, "Girl, I am in the thick of things right now. I am
You have
racing
no
for my
idea what I'm
life.
doing right now.
Let's not talk about mahjong right now. We'll talk about that when I'm recovered."
But it was like when you finished, I mean, it was just like
Yeah.
I was like, "She's gonna do great. She's gonna do great." And I think when you do your marathon that you'll be doing,
Uh-huh.
you'll be fine.
Okay.
It's like once you get past mile 20, I
Yeah.
can promise you it's smooth.
Yeah.
It's that between 16 and 20 miles where it
Yeah, I hear
starts to
that's
get a
hard.
little hairy. And
Yeah.
mind you, I was terrible at fueling. Like you're talking about like I will put myself on blast right now. I ran 26.2 miles with no food.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's tough.
So
Yeah.
I was like, that is not recommended. You should
No,
not. You should
no.
not run a marathon without fueling your body
Yeah.
properly.
Or
So I
training.
am
My
not.
daughter yeah, I was gonna run a half marathon last year before I got injured. I was gonna run it with my daughter, but instead I got to watch her run, and I don't think she did a lick of training. I mean, of course, she was 20 at the time, so you can do a little bit more,
Yeah.
but I looked at her Garmin watch settings afterwards, and her heart rate was at 190 from Jump Street. But she finished. She lost some toenails in the process. I thought I was gonna have to take her to the hospital, like, before she started, I was like, "You're gonna end up with rhabdo," which is this,
Oh, yeah, overtraining.
yeah,
Yeah.
overtraining, but
Mhm.
she did it. I was so proud of her. But
It's
yeah,
great.
you gotta train. You can't yeah, and you gotta fuel yourself,
Yes,
You
it
can't
is
just run
definitely
on a Pop-Tart like I do. I've gotta learn that. But
pop.
I have a running vest and I got all my snacks in there, so and when I'm training and running, I have my hydration, my salt drinks, my chews, my candy. Some people run with they fuel with Nerds gummy clusters, which I've tried before. Uh-oh, what we got? Hey, girl, Sour
Sour
Patch.
Sour Patch
I
Kids
have those
watermelon
too.
for life.
I have those too. Yeah, I used to run with that in Ziploc bags. I haven't
Oh
run
my
with
god,
that in a
best thing
while.
ever. Gives
Yeah.
a little zinger.
Yeah, but now I just somebody said, "You know what will bring you to life is having a toothbrush." You know those little plastic ones, disposable ones with toothpaste already built into the bristles?
Huh.
So, when you get to the aid stations, you just brush your teeth, or when you reach mile 16 or 18, get that toothbrush out,
Mhm.
brush your teeth, get that fresh breath, get that sugar off your teeth, and it'll bring you back to life. And then you put that toothbrush back in your pocket. You don't just throw it on the ground.
No, we don't litter.
Here's the thing that I don't understand though, because when I did the Cherry Blossom 10-mile race in DC, there was trash. People would just throw their goos and just throw it on the ground. Just somebody else will pick it up. But with trail racing, I mean, everybody's got you leave no trace when you're in the woods, and you
Yes,
never see trash in the
leave no
woods too.
trace.
Yeah, and also with trail racing, everybody is encouraging each other with, like, if I was on the side of the road seizing up, there's always somebody would say, "Hey, what can I give you?" They're pulling things out of their vests, some candy, some energy. Everybody's in the same struggle bus. So I love that about trail racing because I haven't done a lot of road racing, so I don't know how it is so much, but the
With the
camaraderie of people that are suffering right alongside you on the mountain,
Mhm.
everybody's there to lift each other up, which is great.
And that's amazing the trail community is like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when is your ultra marathon? What's the date?
November 14th, I believe.
November 14th.
Yeah, clear your
Okay.
calendar, Katie. I expect a lot of
This
videos from you
Yes,
and your daughter.
yes, of course. And then, what is your Instagram handle? Do you know it off the
Cami
top of your head?
yeah, Cami Fluffy to Fit.
All right. You guys gotta make sure that you follow Cami and follow her journey. Cami, I just wanna thank you so much for coming and sitting down with me and sharing this amazing journey because I can tell you as somebody that is an avid trainer that loves
Yeah.
to reach for the next thing that I believe there are no ceilings. I believe I can burst through them and to sit
Mhm.
back, just like sit on the other side and watch you going through this training. And I know many of us in the tonal community, I can tell you that we are all so excited for you. We talk about you a lot. So if your ears are ever ringing, it's because we are talking about how much you inspire us, how much you make us
Oh, that's
laugh, how
sweet.
much you keep it like so genuine and so real. And it may, like me, you may never inspire me to do a trail, but you know what you'll inspire me to do is to keep doing the hard things and doing things for others and
Mhm.
showing them what is possible that I can show them that they can do. That
Yeah.
even if it's hard, even if I'm crying on the floor,
Yeah.
you can do it.
Yeah. Well, you do the same thing too with weightlifting. You're showing what's possible too, especially with your before and after. It's for me, we're like opposite. Like you started off very skinny, tiny,
Hmm.
petite. Not petite because you're very tall compared to me. I'm only 5'2", but you're very skinny at the time. And
Yes.
now you're like, what can I get my body to look at? Or
Yes.
whereas
Hmm.
me, I was started heavy, unhealthy, unfit, and so I had to do the opposite. It wasn't so that I would be a smaller person, it was for
Hmm.
me to be healthy and to move my body in a way that I felt more comfortable in. It was never about how much money or how much weight did I want to lose or what
Right.
size did I want to be. I just wanted to be healthy.
Yeah, and that's
So,
like, when I was at my smallest, I was, like, incredibly unhealthy, and I think sometimes people correlate,
yeah,
"Oh, if you're really thin, then you're really healthy," and I can promise you that is not true.
right.
And I think it's just, it gets to the point where, like we've talked about, like our age, like where are in our lives is showing what our bodies are capable of doing, not
Mhm,
so much what it looks like. Yeah, what it looks like is great. We like looking good in outfits and stuff like that. But it's just like, I always say, I want somebody to ask me how much I bench. When
mm,
they see me, I was like, "Oh, wow, how much do you bench?" Like, when
yeah,
somebody sees you and you like, you look like a runner, they're like, "Wow, how long have you ran?" Like, I think
mhm,
that's amazing compliments when you meet somebody or you see somebody, instead of just like the exterior, you're like, "Wow, what is your training regimen? Like, what do you
mhm,
do?" Because I think
yeah,
that's such an amazing thing, especially for women that we project that.
yes, I agree.
So, Cami, thank you so much for sitting down with me. I truly appreciate it.
Thank
This has
you.
been a blast.
Yeah.
And, what did we do today? Did we run? Did we race? Did we
I
rest?
ran. Yep, I
Okay.
got up at 6. It's crazy. I ran for 4 miles by myself, and then I met my walking group, and we hiked 4 miles, and then I did another 4 miles with my friend Jen, who's gonna be training soon with me to do a 55K in the spring.
Awesome. So
So 12 miles.
when is your next race?
In 2 weeks, I'm gonna be doing the Quantico 12K, and
Okay.
then next month is the half marathon, and then the Marine Corps Marathon in October, and then the 50K in November.
So everybody make sure to follow Cami on her social. I will like hunt her down for her to post links because I know I'm like that crazy friend. I'm like, okay, how can I follow you? How can I follow you? How can I track you?
Yeah.
Um, so make sure you give Cami a follow. And if you're thinking that you can't do it, or you think, I'm too old, or I'm too this, we kind of get in that cycle. I implore you to give Cami a follow. And, if trail racing is something that you've been interested in, definitely, Cami is an amazing, amazing person to kind of,
Mm.
get some brain food, and that healthy brain food, as I always say, when you're, following some people, it's always like, keep it real, right? Like, we
Yeah.
keep it real.
Yeah. I mean, it's not always showing the highlight reels, you know?
No.
I remember I posted a video of me with Tonal where I punched myself in the nose doing the with the rope, you know? It's not because it was funny. First of all, I thought it was funny, but also it's like, it's not always
Yeah.
muscles, you know? You're gonna
That
screw up, you're gonna fall, you're gonna trip. You know, it's
yes.
life.
There
Yeah.
you're
Life is messy.
gonna you the most important part is that you get back up.
Like, bingo.
So, Cami, thank you again,
Thank you.
and I will see you on social, and I
Yes.
cannot wait to cheer for you on your next race.
Thank you. And I'm
Take
cheering for
care.
you along the way too.
Alright, take care.
Thank you.